Ladies and gentlemen, senior college and civil day, welcome to today's presentation on literary and film operation fictional text and media. In the realm of education and cultural exploration, the synergy between literature and film influence a captivating journey into the depths of human imagination and experience. This presentation delves into the dynamic approach and method employed in understanding, teaching, and appreciating fictional text media. Ladies and gentlemen, senior college and civil day, welcome to today's presentation on literary and film operation fictional text and media. In the realm of education and cultural exploration, the synergy between literature and film influence a captivating journey into the depths of human imagination and experience. This presentation delves into the dynamic approach and method employed in understanding, teaching, and appreciating fictional text media. Literary expression in foreign language clauses have been explored in the field of literary didactics. The teaching of literature has a long history, evolving from a foreign language focus to in-person new text and fields. The major trends, recursive and William transform theories, have influenced teaching approach to literature provided unique opportunities for learners to experience different perspectives, fostering empathy and tolerance of ambiguity. It also helps in discussion between fictional and non-fictional. Offering a favorite reading expression, the reason for teaching literature go beyond tradition and emphasize curious dimension. Literary motivates and engages learning by immersing them in new worlds. Evoking personal repulses, it also focuses on the language of literature, emphasizing both analytic and creative approaches, and contributes to language learning and competence development. Recognizing literature as a unique authentic cultural production, with films as audiovisual text influence how it's processed in the classroom. In conclusion, literature serves fulfill purpose and the emphasis on different dimensions depends on the goals of the lesson. There's no one-size-fits-all approach, and literary richness allows for flexibility in teaching. Literature and film concept and competence. The use of story and movies in English teaching is seen as both positive and challenging. Critics argue and that educational burden often overlook the artistic side. Beyond just a language skill, there's a material for valuable lesson in communication, aesthetic, and cultural awareness. And one, building communication skills. As a story and movies help in impressive speaking, reading, and understanding. And reading stories help with the words organizing, vocabulary growth, and learning reading strategies. Understanding and connecting with the story and chance overall language skills. And number two is learning about the different cultures. Stories and film stories real aspect of a different culture. Concept is like seeing things from the different perspectives and understanding others are crucial. And however, it's important to approach these materials with care, understanding they don't automatically teach about a culture. And number three is cultural learning with the stories and films. Being aware of a whole culture are shown in stories and films is vital. Analyzing characters, stories, elements, and cultural themes helps evaluating the message. Developing cultural awareness means recognizing deeper ideas and cultural nuance in what we read or and watch. Literary genres and text selection. Choosing a text and film for teaching English as a foreign language or ESL involves proclaiming the debate over using a set literary canon in ESL sessions has a long history. Criteria for selection include length, difficult, interesting, authenticity, presentation, and reference to the age group. Teachers decide goals for literal lesson which may focus on a language development or literal goals. Different genres like narrative text, novels, short stories, poetry, or dramatic text. Over various teaching possibilities for poetry, emphasizing on form and context in vital. Drama involves in unique characters like a dialogue and plot development. Film are popular in EAPA offering abilities considering literary, dramatic, and cinematic aspects. Film are integrated into language teaching, understanding that the dimension is and course comprehensive approach in fostering and forcing through literary adaptation and co-processing of different film versions of the same text. Teaching literature and film approaching and methods. Teaching literature and film in English as a foreign language or ESL has evolved from formal analysis to more student-oriented and action-oriented methods. Historically, formal analysis, influenced by the new criticism, focused on a distinct text and disclaiming author in text. Nowadays, the reader response varies emphasize learner cognitive and emotional process. Approaches now include subject response, creative transformation, and aesthetic cultural analysis. Student-oriented methods oriented with a communication language teaching and humanistic language teaching. A three-process model pre, while and post activities support learning in increasing meaning and enhancing reciprocal skills. Creativity and performativity play crucial roles, balancing and analyzing and creative approach, performing besides activities and learn actively, encouraging them to adopt different perspective and interact with the text more deeply. Creative both align with the overall goals of literalism. Easy from cognition to more effort for mark-driven encourage complexity and implement from the both learners and teachers doing literal papers to achieve improvement in literal projects. Evaluating the learners more active role, aesthetic and cultural analysis is a vital acknowledging the fictional nature of literal and filmic works. It discusses essential and mimetic approaching advocating for a notion understanding of a cultural phenomenon, overcoming the dichotomy between analytic and creative approaches is a goal, recognizing the potential of literal ambivalence, complexity, and multi-perspectivity. Perspective for the literary classroom. In a literary education, there is a growing focus on an effective approach, especially for diverse learners, starting with a beginner literary text, films, filter picture books, and short poems are integrated into a foreign language classroom. A visual element and multimedia literature combining of words and pictures are gaining importance and enhancing student visual and critical literacy. Global topic revolving social studies and cultural issues are introduced into the literature education. Children's and young adult literature, or CYAL, has expanded the literature canon, offering a more accessible and relatable content. The better access on the use of a graded readers, but they can be helpful for early exposure to the literature. The interplay of the text media adaptation and digital tools enriches literal encounters, comparison different versions of a state and organizing atmosphere creation and considering narrative themes, foster critical literature, educational art, and interesting digital narrative, and super creative and collaboration in the literature classroom. Testing and explaining in the literary education improve assessing language skills, literary aspect, and professional response. Current model aims to integrate aesthetic aspect and language development, addressing the complications of Persian language class. And in conclusion, using literature and teaching literature involves development approach, including a phrase method that shows and classroom strategies to address the contrast between analytic and creative methods. It is beneficial to integrate diverse teaching dimensions. Balancing content and competent orientation is key. With a realism goals building the page into the interactive world literal. Persian language literature classes often follow rigid routine. Instead of teaching phrase challenging related to the text selection, flexible methods, affiliation, complex building, language development, and literal learning. Looking ahead, there in the digital age present additional collection challenge, but also options to explore imaginative films, embracing interactive over passive reflection hold promise education. particularly in a literal classroom. Anomalies representing that litter is a bag but wearing different clothes. McDaniel, a new chapter in the digital future of a teaching literature.